Hello everyone, my name is Như Ý. The purpose of my presentation is to give you more information about Big Tech, which is the largest and most dominant company in the US information technology industry. The presentation it should last around 15 minutes. If you have any questions, please ask me at the end of my talk. So, I have divided my presentation into two main parts. First of all, I give you more information about Big Tech. What is the Big Tech? The history of antitrust regulation in the United States, the vertical integration of supply chain, the dominance of Facebook, Google, and Amazon. Secondly, I will answer four case study questions. How does the first era of antitrust thinking, 1890 to 1950, differ from the second era? What is the natural monopoly and how has the United States dealt with the natural monopolies? And what are three possible solutions to the market dominance and anti-competitive behaviors of Facebook, Google, and Amazon? And how does the European model of antitrust differ from the American model? So, let's get started. Big Tech is the largest and most dominant company in the US information technology industry, that is Amazon, Apple, Google, and Facebook. Critics argue that Amazon, Google, and Facebook have built imbrandable digital platforms. Critics claim that Big Tech could do anything to stifle competition. The strategy of Big Tech firms is to aggregate huge user numbers by eliminating competitors. In the United States, critics say antitrust regulators and politicians don't get it. Secondly, I will tell you about history of antitrust regulations in the United States, beginning with the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 through the 1950s. Congress passed multiple pieces of legislation to restrain and, if necessary, break up the industrial trend of the 19th and 20th centuries. The classic antitrust case is Standard Oil Corporation of New Jersey, United States. In 1911, the Civil Court ruled that Standard Oil was in violations of the Sherman Antitrust Act and chose to change the structure of Standard Oil. Antitrust thinking changed markedly during the 1960s due to changes in economic thinking and interpretation by courts, as well as changes in the economy and politics. After the 1960s, the major construct of classical antitrust thinking and legislation, such as predatory pricing, discriminatory pricing, and vertical integration, were no longer viewed as the problematic, but rather seen as advancing consumer interests by lower price. This new thinking was directly opposite of earlier antitrust thinking and laws. And fast forward to the 21st century, Amazon is an example of the not fit the rational model of 1960 antitrust thinking, the same Google and Facebook. Secondly, the vertical integration of supply chain. The classic antitrust case is Standard Oil Corporation of New Jersey, United States. John Rockefeller is a co-founder of the Standard Oil Trust. Over a period of 30 years, Charles had grown to control oil exploration, transportation such as pipelines and railroads, refining and distribution down to the retail level. This is called vertical integration or supply chain control to the entire industry. One result of Standard Oil behavior was complete control over pricing oil products, allowing it to charge below cost in some markets to bankrupt competitors, while charging monopoly premium in markets where it's not fair competition, so-called predatory or discriminatory pricing. In 1911, the Supreme Court rules that Stenoid violate the Summer Antitrust Act and chose to change the structure of Standard Oils by dividing into 3-4 separate companies that hope to compete with each other and remain independent, as well as prohibit the company from engaging in other activities for the sole purpose of establishing a monopoly. Some of the companies have been linked together over the course of hundreds of years and today form a large part of ExxonMobil Corporation, the electric corporation in the United States. There are three dominant corporates in the United States called Big Tech, consisting of Facebook, Google, and Amazon. Firstly, I will tell you about the Facebook. Facebook faced similar criticism for using its platform to destroy or buy competitors. For example, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion in 2014. It acquired WhatsApp for staggering $21.8 billion. Overall, Facebook has acquired about 90 different companies. Facebook created a copy service called Instagram Stories that mimics Snapchat piece characteristic. Google is as a monopoly not simply based on the market size but because of its horizontal integration behaviors and its search engine characteristic for its own service. It eliminates its competitor for the sake of the maintaining search and advertising dominance. Google's horizontal strategy follows the big tech playbook by up your competitors or decrease their access to Google's search platform. Google bought YouTube in 2006 for $1.6 billion, making Google Video a no-brainer. In 2008, Google bought DoubleClick, one of the pioneers of online advertising network, for $3.1 billion. And Google also bought Waze in 2013 for $1 billion because it was a popular Google Maps competitor due to its graphical mapping feature. Firstly, I will tell you Amazon. Amazon is one of companies that do not fit the rational model of antitrust thinking of the 1960s. Amazon's strategy is to focus on the maximizing market share, not profit, and therefore it is willing to set retail prices of products at or below price over the long term, not just holiday sales. Amazon operates the largest online retail platform with over 500,000 products ranging from shoes, dresses, batteries, books to computers and branches. It is the largest third-party online marketplace platform in the United States, with nearly 3 million third-party sellers. Example, Amazon uses its platform power to remove books from publishers. Hundreds after hundreds oppose this approach. In other product lines, Amazon has developed its own household range, such as Amazon Basic, household goods, and electronics. And secondly, I will answer 4 case study questions. Firstly, the first areas of antitrust thinking was began with the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1980 through the 1950s. According to this law, Congress passed many pieces of legislation to restrain and break up the big company if needed. And the purpose of this legislation is to create the fair competition in the market. It ensures that smaller companies and entrepreneurs could enter markets. Furthermore, this act protects consumers and other smaller firms from unreasonably high prices. Legislature believe that the restriction of the trade could create a low product quality or reduce production and supply. However, The antitrust thinking changed in the 1960s because of change in the economic thinking. And in this period, concentration of economic power was not seen as anti-competitive, but it is considered to greater efficiency and lower price for customers, and no restraint of trade of preventing other companies from entering a market. And the question 2, I will answer natural monopoly. Natural monopoly is defined as a single company supplies the entire market with a particular good or service without any competition because of large barrier to entry. Natural monopoly creates barrier to enter a market simply by virtue of the investment size required for new entrants acquires all the nearly insurmountable advantages in efficiency, brand, and patents. For example, there's some natural monopoly are electrical and gas, utility, telephone, and cable system. The legislators had returned to regulation to control pricing and service level in the public interest and structural changes. For instance, in the 20th century, the federal government nationalized the entire telephone and telecommunication industry, with creating a single national system operating by only one firm, that is AT&T. Furthermore, state enacted a regulation of industry including prohibiting new firms from competing and introducing new standards and competing the telephone line to avoid duplication or higher prices. And I will answer the question 3. The first solution is to increase the review of proposed mergers with a view to protecting innovative small firms from purchase if they result simply in the dominant firm gaining a larger audience and capturing more of the consumer time, denying this might share to competitors. For example, Facebook's by WhatsApp, which was not in the social network market perceived, could be prevented on the ground because the merger would simply increase market shares for Facebook and hinder the ability of innovative startups to enter. The second solution is to splitting existing monopoly into standalone independent company. For instance, Amazon could be split into 10 stand-alone companies such as a retail company, a web service company, or the media company. Facebook could be split into social network, messaging, photo sharing companies, and Google could be split into the search advertising network, a computer hardware company, and a video sharing company. The third solution is to follow the European example of dealing with the big tech mega firm. The EU is pursuing a regulatory model for big tech firms in a number of areas such as antitrust, privacy, and taxation. For instance, the European Union fined Google a record $5.1 billion in 2018 for forcing Samsung, Huawei, and other smartphone makers to prioritize Google search, its Chrome browser, and other apps in return for allowing them to use the Android operating system. And lastly, I will answer question 4. European model retracts the contemporary American notion that price and efficiency are the only criteria for assessing monopolistic behavior, and instead focus on the impact on the market entry of innovative companies. The European model is a broader vice of antitrust, similar to the previous periods of US antitrust laws, considering the structure of markets and competition, not only consumer prices. And my presentation is enough today, and thank you for your listening.